You're standing at the end of your street. It's that hour when the light turns gold and goes soft, and everything looks like it's been dipped in honey. Somewhere, a radio is playing through an open window. You can smell dinner. Someone's mother somewhere is cooking, and the warm air carries it down the whole road. You don't have a watch. You don't need one. You just know it's almost time to go in. And you don't know it yet, standing there in the last of the light. But this is one of the moments you'll spend the rest of your life trying to get back to. This isn't a video about old toys, or old television, or the way things used to cost. We're not going back to the facts of the 1970s. We're going back to the feeling of it, to a version of childhood that doesn't exist anywhere anymore, except in the part of you that still remembers. So let's go back, together. And I'll be honest with you before we start. There's one part of this, the chapter about the people we didn't know we'd lose, that I almost couldn't write. If you grew up in those years, that's the one that's going to find you. Stay with me. Do you remember being allowed to just disappear? After school, the door opened and you were gone. No phone, no way to be reached. Just a voice behind you. Be back before dark. And then the whole world. In the American suburbs, it was bikes and back gardens in the woods at the end of the road. In Europe, it was a cobbled street, a courtyard, a field behind the houses where everyone met without ever agreeing to. Different places, exactly the same freedom. And here's the thing you might have forgotten, the part your body remembers better than your mind. You remember the sound that ended it. A mother's voice carrying across 2 streets, calling your name into the dusk. That small drop in your stomach, the reluctance, 5 more minutes. The light going blue, and you, not ready. Because today, a child can be found within 10 meters. We were just somewhere, probably fine. And when you sit with that now, it isn't nostalgia you feel, it's something heavier, something closer to grief. We were trusted with our own afternoons, and no one ever gave them back. There's a room you still carry inside you. You know the one, burnt orange and avocado green. Colors so confident they didn't care what you thought. A carpet thick enough to lose a sock in. A couch with a pattern you could trace with your finger for an hour and never finish. And the television, the real one, the heavy one, that took a moment to warm up before the picture swam into focus. In Britain, it was the whole family around 2 or 3 channels on a Sunday night. In Germany, an evening program everyone watched at the same time, because everyone watched it at the same time. In America, 3 networks and a TV dinner on a folding tray. Then, the smell of food from the kitchen, a parent's voice calling that it's nearly ready. The clink of cutlery, someone laughing in the next room. And here's what you didn't know then, the thing no child could know. This, exactly this, was the whole point. Not the show, not the food. We were all there, in one room, together. That was the universe, and you thought it would always be there. Music arrived differently then. You didn't own it, you waited for it. You sat by the radio with your finger over the button, hoping, praying, they'd play your song before the news. And there was a ritual to it. The record slid out of its sleeve, out of that thin paper inner. You held it by the edges, the way you'd been taught. You lowered the needle so carefully your breath stopped. And then, that warm crackle, half a second before the music. That meant here it comes. Whatever your song was, it doesn't matter which one, it stopped being just a song. It became a person, a summer, a first crush you never told anyone about, a car journey with the windows down, a quiet Sunday that you didn't know you'd remember forever. Because you couldn't skip it, you couldn't shuffle it, you couldn't have it whenever you wanted. You didn't skip, you didn't shuffle, you listened. Here's where it gets harder. Because it was never really about the decade. It was never about the orange carpet, or the record, or the long gold afternoons. It was about the people who filled them. Think of one, just one. A grandmother in her kitchen, doing the same small thing she did every single day. The same cloth, the same kettle, the same place she kept the biscuits. And you, underfoot, not even looking up because she was simply always there. A neighbor who greeted you the same way every morning. A friend whose front door you walked into without knocking. A hand that landed on your shoulder, and a laugh you'd know anywhere, even now, even after all this time. You didn't memorize any of it. Why would you? Nobody tells a child to pay attention to an ordinary Tuesday. And that's the part you only understand looking back. Those ordinary moments, the ones too small to notice, were the priceless ones all along. You only understand it looking back. And that's the part that cost you. Not 6 weeks like now, gone before you'd even open the calendar. 6 weeks like a separate life. No school bell, no timetable. Just morning after morning of nothing you had to do, and everything you wanted to. There was a rhythm to it, even though nobody planned it. Cereal in front of the television before the good program started. The bikes out by 9, gone until the streetlights or the shouting, whichever came first. Somebody's back garden turning into a football pitch, a campsite, an entire imagined country, depending on the day. And somewhere in the middle of it, a caravan, a tent, a coastal town whose name you still remember better than your own address at the time. Sand in the car for weeks afterwards. A handful of coins that felt like a fortune, and a van whose tune you could hear from 3 streets away. A photograph nobody can quite place the year of, because every summer looked the same, and that was the whole point. You thought there would always be another one just like it. Nobody tells a child to pay attention to the last ordinary summer. It just happens to be the last one, quietly, without asking permission. But ask yourself this. What is it exactly that you miss? Because what you miss most might not be any single thing. Not the toys, not the shows, not even the people exactly. It might be the shape of the day itself. The long, slow, unhurried stretch of it. Hours that were just yours, with nothing required of them. Whole afternoons of nothing in particular, that now, looking back, feel like the most golden hours you ever lived. Time didn't used to be measured. It was just time. And there was so much of it. So here's the truth, and it's a quiet one. The 1970s weren't perfect. They were never perfect. But they held a version of childhood that can never be repeated. Not because the technology changed, not because the world got faster, but because the homes are different now. The people have gone or changed, and the simpler version of you, the one standing at the end of that street in the golden light, is gone too. You don't just miss the 1970s, you miss the version of yourself who didn't know how fast everything would change. And maybe it hurts to remember, maybe that ache never fully goes. But I've come to think the ache isn't something to be afraid of. It's the proof, it's love, with nowhere left to go. Those streets, those rooms, those people, they're not entirely gone. Not as long as you remember them. Not as long as you carry them. So go back sometimes. Stand at the end of that street again. The light is still golden there. And someone is still calling you home.